President and CEO of the Arizona Humane Society. 115 days. That's how long it's been since the 55 dogs were seized from April McLaughlin's home and 5 dogs were found dead in a freezer at her residence. Sadly, it was a night many of us will never forget, and I was there. It was one of the most horrific cases of animal cruelty that I've personally ever seen. Over the course of the last 4 months, we've continued to work in partnership with law enforcement to provide evidence as well as care for the dogs that were seized. I want to thank our compassionate and dedicated staff and volunteers who worked tirelessly through this time. You guys did an amazing job taking care of these dogs. We really appreciate it. The dogs required a substantial amount of medical treatment and special assistance for mobility issues and extra love as they healed from living in such deplorable conditions. The Arizona Humane Society team has already reunited more than 40 dogs with former owners and rescue groups, and thanks to the court denying April's petition, we were granted ownership of the remaining 13 dogs. So today, the final 5 dogs, you'll see Maddie and Xander and Cody and Silly Billy and Skylar as they're reunited with Animal Pad Rescue Group. We stand steadfast in ensuring a situation like this never happens again. That is why today we're proud to share that the Arizona Humane Society is working in partnership with Senator T.J. Shope to introduce Senate Bill 1047. This critical legislation is aimed at protecting pets by fortifying the state's animal cruelty laws so no pet will ever have to suffer the same way again. In 2023, we responded to more than 15,000 calls for service and initiated close to 10,000 animal abuse investigations, which is 21% more than we did the year before. In the wake of increasing animal abuse cases throughout the valley, the Arizona Humane Society has been working with cities to improve their ordinances around animal cruelty. However, the time has come for the entire state of Arizona to stand against animal cruelty. Senate Bill 1047 specifically defines cruelty to companion animals as failure to provide necessary medical attention, defines food and water as fit for consumption, and ensures shelter is safe and provides protection during extreme weather conditions. If Senate Bill 1047 would have been law on last September 22nd, it would have allowed the Chandler Police Department to obtain a search warrant faster and to seize the animals that were in McLaughlin's care. As the proposed language better defines animal suffering as unreasonable as opposed to protracted, which is much more difficult to prove. This moment represents the end of a very difficult chapter for our community and the pets that were affected, and the beginning of a new chapter for not only these animals, but our state that we can be very proud of. At this time, I want to introduce Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell.
Well, good morning. I want to thank the Arizona Humane Society, Dr. Hansen, for the invitation to give my remarks on the proposed legislation by Senator T.J. Shope. As you already know, my office recently announced the indictment of April McLaughlin. That's the Chandler woman who's accused of the neglect and abuse of the dogs that we're going to see today. Of course, ethical rules require me to say that charges are not evidence and people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. But I want you to know that our office worked very hard to obtain felony charges for this defendant. And under the current law, that requires a lot of evidence. We needed veterinary evidence to move forward with prosecution efforts in this case. So I want to commend the Arizona Humane Society because your efforts were vital in the investigation in working with the Chandler Police Department to submit a viable case to our office. And like this defendant, there are many others that we are working on. And that's why Senate Bill 1047, sponsored by Senator Shope, is so important for prosecutors. Anytime that we can further narrow the definition of words like water and food and shelter and make it more explainable it's going to help us be more successful in prosecution. So it's not just water. It's water that's fit for consumption, as an example. So we're removing the ambiguity. I also want to draw your attention, there's another bill that's being sponsored by Representative Barbara Parker, and that bill is going to add the most serious crime of animal abuse to the domestic violence statutes. The lesser one is in there, but when they added the more serious offense, they did not put it in the DV statute, so Barbara Parker is working on that. So between her bill and removing the ambiguity from Senate Bill 1047, that will really help us be more successful. And, you know, for dogs like Billy, who, by the way, what he lacks in mobility, he makes up for in personality. So, and if you're looking at this on HDTV, yeah, I have hair on me. So what? So this is legislation that's greatly needed, and so I'm proud to stand behind that bill as well as Representative Parker's. Thank you.
So at this time, we'd like to bring out the remaining dogs that will be reunited or united with Animal Pad. And if you have any questions, County Attorney Rachel Mitchell and I will be available for a few questions afterwards. So thank you all very much for coming today. This is a very important day for us, a very important day for our staff, and we're just so pleased that these dogs are finally going home. So here comes Xander. Xander has a beautiful set of eyes. And here comes Skylar. Skylar was in our offices talking earlier today. This is the quietest I've ever heard Skylar. Very, very sweet dog.
Do you have anything to say, Skylar?
No, I like it here just fine.
I'm fine right here.
So this is Cody. Cody is a very smart boy. Very nice job, Jenny. So we'd just like a final round of applause for our staff. Thank you all very, very much. And we are available for questions if there are any questions.
Could you just go over the dogs and their disabilities? Because there were some, I think, at least two of them that didn't. I wasn't sure if they were her dogs that she had. And, yeah.
So I don't actually know whether the dogs were her dogs or not. Do you know, Tracy?
Yeah, the dogs that don't have any disabilities were her personal. The dogs that didn't have any disabilities were her personal animals.
But those that did, we saw some that were pretty disabled there. For example, the husky. Can you share a little bit of color of what was going on there? With how you found them?
The challenge with knowing their history is they all came from other organizations to April's house, so we really don't know a lot of how they got in that condition. Skylar's is probably going to be congenital or a birth defect, and some others we're not sure, if they were hit by a car or if there was some sort of tragic event that caused them to be paralyzed. So we don't know that part of how they got to where they were at. We just know that once we were there, that they no longer needed to be there.
Can you explain a little bit about the joy of working with all of these dogs? I mean, we saw a lot of personalities here.
Yeah.
A lot of different personalities. What has it been like for you and your staff to care for them? And is there one that has like a special place in the staff's heart as well?
I think every staff member probably has their own particular favorite. There isn't just one rounded out that everybody loves. I'm a husky person, so Skylar was my favorite. What was the first part of what you asked? I went to favorites.
The joy of caring for them.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a staff.
It's pretty amazing seeing them from when my team was out there on the day of the search warrant and saw them at their absolute worst. The heartbreaking time of that. I mean, you kind of put your anger and your personal emotions aside when you're out there and just do what needs to be done because you're there to save the animals. Bringing them in and then having the animal care team and the medical team give them 150% of, excuse me, 150% every day, all day is amazing to see the compassion that everyone in this organization has. And being able to see them today, 115 days after we saw them at their worst is why I'm standing here crying, or trying not to cry, and I'm trying not to look at anybody over there because I think they're all crying too. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing to be able to take an animal from the most horrid conditions and on their worst day and see them thrive today in front of the camera and show off and do tricks and now be able to go off to their forever home.
To see this case, and it's obviously been described as one of the worst cases of animal cruelty here in the Valley, to know that it's now on its way to changing laws, what's that like?
Spectacular. It's very spectacular knowing that we have the ability, the county attorney with senators, legislation to make change in the state law because we only work in Maricopa County, and unfortunately I know that there are several cases like this outside of Maricopa County that we can't even touch or can't help with, and making a state law that will ensure that something like this doesn't happen again is very powerful, not only for my team that does the investigations, but for everybody that is a pet owner and just the state of Arizona.
Thank you all so much. We're actually going to cut off questions there. If you want to stick around, we might have a few minutes for individual questions between County Attorney Mitchell, Dr. Hanson, and Tracy. But we want to make sure you all have a chance to ask questions. So if you need to do that individually afterwards, you can. But we're going to cut off the official questions there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Congratulations to you guys so very much. That's a powerful, powerful commitment. You've talked with me before, Steve. Thank you again. I appreciate it. Yeah, the Husky, your stand? I want to show you this video because they were.
I know, that's why every time I looked over there, I got worse.
Obviously, this has been a mounting moment for you guys. All of you are obviously
Be ready to make it, right? Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Check 1 2, check 1 2.
No, I was gonna say if you want to join our interview.
That'd be a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, look, we're going over there.
You go grab her.
Really quickly.
Oh, okay,
ladies and
sorry.
gentlemen. Just in case they get you down a little bit.
Okay.
There you go. There we go. Okay. Thank you so much, Rachel. You know the drill here. We have your name, what's called the title.
Sorry, can we just have you maybe introduce us so that they can get
This way?
Yeah, if you can look down the down here.
Okay, so you want my,
Right there, you're good.
okay.
I'm gonna duck right
Switch
over
places
this way.
here.
Sorry, guys.
So you want,
Problems being home.
you want my name and title?
Yes, please. Thank
Rachel Mitchell, Rachel, Mitchell, Maricopa County Attorney.
So, Rachel, your office has put a lot of hard work into this. What does it mean today to stand here and see these dogs finally head to a safe place?
You know, it just, you couldn't help but warm your heart to see that they're doing well. And, you know, when I walked in today, I heard one of them, Skylar, vocalizing, and, you know, it was just, it was a great sound.
What is your message to lawmakers as this proposed bill would kind of give you and your team some teeth, no pun intended, but into some of these cases?
You know, this should be as nonpartisan as anything. I mean, this is to protect animals. It's just to clear up the law, the TJ Shopes, and the other one is to make up for something that just didn't happen when the law was drafted, and so these should be easily and quickly passed through the legislature and signed.
Just as far as April McLaughlin, can you kind of walk us through where that case stands right now and how you guys are going to move forward?
Okay. Well, as I announced last week, she's been indicted on 8 felonies and additional misdemeanors by our office, as well as additional felonies, 77 by the Chandler City prosecutors. And we're at the kind of beginning stages of the trial process right now, but we'll be moving forward on it.
To know that there are so many eyes on this and so many feelings too, with so many rescues that it took to get all of this uncovered, you know, what kind of pressure does your office feel to make sure that justice is served for these animals who have no voice?
You know, the pressure is not because a lot of eyes are on us. The pressure is because we want to do what's right by these animals. You know, one of the things that I learned early on in my tenure was that a lot of police departments were not able to keep animal abuse units because of shortages of police officers. And so one of the things that I did was I hired one of the police officers away to become a detective so that we could lend out our expertise and make sure that these cases are prosecuted. And, you know, these cases are enough in and of themselves, but we also have to remember that animal abuse is so highly correlated to child abuse and domestic violence, and we're mindful of that as well.
Being accused of animal cruelty is one thing for April McLaughlin, but there's also some claims that she had some elder abuse, as we saw on body camera from the police department, including fraud about the type of rescue that she was operating, even an identity theft there, because she's had so many different aliases. What can you say about going beyond just the large amount of animal cruelty charges and some of the other things that she's been accused of?
Well, we have a great relationship with the Chandler Police Department, and they're, you know, they did a great investigation, and if they want to submit additional charges to us with additional evidence, we're certainly going to take a look at it.
What is your message to would-be animal abusers in the state of Arizona?
You know, you will be prosecuted. I mean, this is not something that doesn't matter to people. It matters a lot to people. And if you're finding yourself in a situation where you're going to harm an animal, turn the animal in. Don't subject it to needless abuse and pain. They do feel pain.
The city of Chandler had initially, or not too long ago, they presented a similar law. Can you talk about the difference between what Chandler did versus this law, perhaps, and the impact it would have on the state level, right?
Oh, say that.
I think he's talking about the city ordinance. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know that the Arizona Humane Society has been working with not only the state legislature but also local cities to change their ordinances, and that will assist the police officers and the city prosecutors in being successful in investigating and prosecuting these cases.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.